PPIs are used to treat heartburn and reflux, but they also cause many health problems. They decrease the nutrients that you get from your food. They change the pH of your microbiome and thus change that very important ecosystem inside you. They increase the risk of bacterial overgrowths and candida, and they can cause other digestive problems. In this video, I will discuss what PPIs are, how they were intended to be used, and how they can cause any of the issues I just mentioned, as well as why you want to be very careful when you do use them. Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Wangen, the founder and medical director of the IBS Treatment Center. Over my career as a physician, I've seen hundreds and possibly over 1,000 patients who've been put on PPIs by other doctors for very long periods of time. This has often caused them as many and possibly more problems than they've solved. Now, why is this? First, what are PPIs? Now, PPI stands for proton pump inhibitor. You know them as things like Prevacid and Protonix and Prilosec, which is also known as omeprazole, and Nexium, among other names. Now, PPIs stop or greatly reduce the acid production in your stomach. Now, they are similar to H2 blockers, which you've also heard of, things like Pepcid AC and Zantac, which is known as ranitidine, and Tagamet. Now, the main difference between PPIs and H2 blockers is that PPIs generally are stronger than H2 blockers and last longer. Now, they were intended to be used for GERD or gastroesophageal reflux disease, although sometimes I've seen them used for a whole host of other digestive problems. But of course, what they do is they shut down your acid production, and then that can give you relief from reflux and heartburn. And of course, then they reduce the chance of you developing something called Barrett's esophagus. Now, Barrett's esophagus is an erosion of the lower esophagus, and about 12% or so of people with chronic GERD get Barrett's esophagus. Now, why is that important? Well, because about 0.5% of people with Barrett's esophagus develop esophageal cancer. So now, if we go back and do the math of all of this, if you have reflux or GERD, then you have a tiny risk for developing esophageal cancer. It's actually quite rare. And if you have Barrett's esophagus, then you have a less than 1% chance of developing esophageal cancer. So now all of that is to say that this is the justification for having people on long-term PPIs and H2 blockers. However, they were never designed to be used long-term. And what is long-term? Now, for most cases, the FDA defines long-term use of PPIs as longer than 8 weeks. The only reason I say most cases is sometimes there are case uses for, say, 12 weeks or so. So, what's the problem? Well, I want to repeat that PPIs were only intended to be used for about 2 to 3 months, right? But I know for a fact that many people use them way longer than that. And many people even use them for years. And that's where problems develop, because you need stomach acid. You have stomach acid for a reason, and actually for lots of reasons. Now, number one, you evolved to produce stomach acid. So you can't just eliminate it and expect to be healthy. And I don't want you to get the idea from anyone else that you are now producing too much stomach acid and that you need to turn down the faucet. There's actually no evidence for that theory. You didn't just get to be your age and now you are suddenly producing too much stomach acid. You're producing the same amount of stomach acid that you've always produced, but now you are suffering symptoms that are related to it. So something else is happening that is causing your lower esophagus to be susceptible to your stomach acid and to cause heartburn and reflux. Now, why do you need stomach acid? Like, more specifically than just evolution, right? Well, what's the purpose? What's it doing down there? Well, there are at least 5 major reasons why you need your stomach acid. First, you need it to properly digest your food. If you don't have enough stomach acid, then you can't break down your food. And if you don't break down your food properly, then you don't get the nutrients out of your food that you normally would. Now, second, you also need it to help you kill bacteria that's coming down this pipe, right? There's always some bacteria coming down all the time. That's just part of our environment. It's part of, you can't kill all the bacteria in all the food all the time. There's plenty of foods that you eat that have a little bit in it. Third, it activates some enzymes. So your stomach acid actually is activating some enzymes that you need for digesting your food. All right, fourth, it's required for the absorption of specific nutrients. So you need your stomach acid for things like absorbing vitamin B12 and for minerals such as calcium and magnesium and iron. Of course, those are all super important, right? Critically important to our health. And finally, your stomach acid sets the stage for the entire microbiome of your digestive tract. So it's just like any other ecosystem. Your microbiome is designed to operate optimally under very specific conditions. Now, this not only includes the nutrients that it gets from your proper digestion that you want to be having, right? But your acid production literally sets the stage for creating the pH that ultimately leads to the environment for the organisms in your microbiome. Not having enough stomach acid increases the risks for a variety of things. And let's review a few of them. And these are significant. We know that the risk for osteoporosis goes up, significantly goes up with the long-term use of proton pump inhibitors and H2 blockers. Long-term use of these things also increases the risk, surprisingly, get this, of developing cardiovascular disease and kidney disease, and it increases the risk of developing diabetes. And it also significantly increases the risk of developing bacterial overgrowths and candida overgrowths in the digestive system, which of course, which we just referred to, right? Because you've changed a lot of things in the microbiome, so it increases the risk for these overgrowths, and that of course in turn is going to mess up your microbiome and then can lead to a host of digestive problems such as IBS, as well as a whole lot of other potential digestive problems. Now, what should you do about all of this? Well, it's very important to recognize that PPIs are not the answer, at least not long term, right? They do not treat the cause of your problem. They are a short-term band-aid that you should only use temporarily. And after that, you should only use them sporadically while you are figuring out what the underlying cause is for your heartburn and your reflux. And there are causes, there are lots of causes, and you can do something about them and heal your reflux or your heartburn or your GERD. Now, it's not necessarily easy to figure out any of those causes, but it is doable, and I want you to go away with the hope knowing that it can be figured out. And it's not easy either, by the way, we should mention, to get off of PPIs, especially after you've been using them for a long time. But that is also doable, but it can be challenging for a lot of people. Now, I'd love to hear your stories about taking PPIs, and I encourage you to share them in the comment section below. And if you need help dealing with PPIs or GERD, don't hesitate to reach out to us at the number and email below. We work with people literally all over the world via telemedicine, and we'd love to work with you too. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more information about your digestive health. Thanks a lot for watching.